or love to travel or want to travel, I want to talk to you about the fear of flying, which, by the way, is very, very common. A lot of people have fear of flying, but from your hypnotherapist, I'm going to show you and tell you today how that fear can go bye bye in a very short time. In fact, it's funny. I just 5 minutes ago had a request for exactly that, who asked me, hey, can hypnotherapy help me with fear of flying? And of course, I was able to give them an emphatic yes, of course we can help you with that because fear of flying. Now, it's not funny because I know a lot of people suffer with this. I know that so many people will jump through all kinds of hoops just to somehow get on a plane, and they will force themselves and pressurize themselves. And even their own family will ridicule them, make fun of them, shame them, blame them. What's wrong with you? In other words, look, let's just stop here. Logic doesn't work because this is not a logical problem. Okay, so as well meaning as this family might be, as wonderful as those words might sound, as great or logical as this advice may be, it doesn't work. The person already knows that flying is one of the best and most safest way to travel. They know that logically, but biologically they're getting tripped up. So I want to explain to you how, again, and the other thing is how many people get on all kinds of drugs and meds just to get through when, yeah, those then have negative, dangerous side effects. And I am not in favor of that. And most of my clients aren't either. So the other thing that this is not a personality flaw. Let's repeat that. There's nothing wrong with you. There's everything right with you. I'm going to show you how. This is not a character flaw. This is not a weakness. This is not having enough courage or confidence. In fact, this has nothing to do with whether it's an airplane or not. It has all to do with a subconscious program that is still, unfortunately, running the show, ruining your life. That's all it is. No, I don't want to say that's all it is because it makes it sound like it's not a big deal. It is a big deal for so many people who experience that. It is a big deal because they feel shame, they feel guilt, their life is handicapped because of this. They're not able to enjoy themselves the way they want. They're certainly not looking forward to those trips, even though they might want to, I don't know, fly from New York to Hawaii. But even just the thought of getting, they're not able to even enjoy the thought of, being in Hawaii. I will never forget one of my favorite. I know I'm not supposed to have favorite clients, and I don't, but I can have favorite cases. One of my favorite cases was a woman in her mid 50s. And she said, Susan, the day has come. My daughter is graduating from this prestigious, incredible, incredible college, right? And I promised her that I will be there at the graduation. But, but I have this incredible fear, crippling fear of flying. I haven't flown since I'm 12 years old. My daughter is now, I know, 22, 23, whatever, right? And I promised her I will be there. And there is no way I would get on a plane. So I am in this huge dilemma. And yes, even years of my family begging me, let's get on a flight, let's do this trip, and I would always say no. So obviously my whole family compromised for me. They were very sweet and all of that. But this is one of those non-negotiables. I have to go. I promised her, can you help me? And I told her exactly what I'm going to tell you. Absolutely yes. And here's the best part. This is not going to take months or years to fix. You do not need to endure dangerous side effects from drugs and meds. And the best part is you have the resources inside of you to fix this. My job as a hypnotherapist is just to guide you to that place, to show you where those resources are so that you can use them. Now, I want to tell you a little bit of the backstory here so that you can understand what's really going on about fear of flying, which again, A lot of people say, well, it's such an irrational fear. True, it is irrational, but to your body, to your nervous system, this is not irrational. This is very real. And so what's going on is, number one, what I will often do with my clients is I want to understand, wait a minute, what is causing this fear so that you don't go repeating the same thing over and over, right? Let's start there. What is causing this fear? And I promise you, as I did with this woman, there is always an event, there's a moment that caused this fear to become deeply ingrained, cemented into your system, and now it's like slam dunk, game over, done. But most people don't know consciously what the root cause is, which then, of course, is how could they possibly fix it? You can't fix what you don't understand, right? So, number one, I help you fix and see what is the cause so that you can see this is not your fault. And this has nothing to do with your courage, nothing to do with your personality, nothing to do with your constitution. It's not how you're wired. I promise you, you have the capacity, the capability to get on that plane like a boss and like a lady. You see, even my dog is getting excited. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That level of excitement and enthusiasm. You have the potential to do this. And no, you don't need to do. Let me just sit back and relax. No, I am not going to teach you or tell you that you need to do breathing techniques or coping skills or tapping, which makes us look like, no, none of those things are necessary. Okay. What we do stays in our office, stays on our Zoom call. Yes, we can do this virtually. How we do this stays within the two, within you and me, okay? So I'm not going to tell you to do any of these. I call them distraction methods. That's all they really are. You know, distracting you into a book, into a movie, thinking about, no, it doesn't work. It's a distraction at best, at best. And most of the time, people can't pull it off because they're so deep in their anxiety, they're so deep in their fear that even those distraction methods often don't work. Okay. I do have WhatsApp. Da, da, da. So, where were we? You see what happens when I read the notes, when I read the comments? I get distracted. Where were we? Lost my train of thought. Um, yes, root cause. So we go to the root cause. We want to help. And with this woman, for example, the root cause was there she was 5 years, and obviously this happens in hypnotherapy. 5 years old, she's sitting there with her mom in the kitchen. They're watching the news and they're watching this plane accident. The mom freaking out, hysterical. Oh my God, another plane crash. Anyhow, that moment had such a deep impression on this little girl. And that was the moment when she decided unconsciously, flying, not happening. We're not doing that. Literally, an innocent moment like that caused her lifelong fear of flying. That's how quickly the mind learns. Now, it's not always like that, but for this woman, that's how it happened. And now she was able to already understand so much more. And instead of blaming herself and shaming herself and thinking, what's wrong with me? Now she could at least understand, oh my goodness, this is something I learned at 5 years old. This is something I decided when I was 5 years old. So that's number one. Then, number two, we help you reprogram the subconscious because when you get this perspective and you can see, man, look at this little girl, this is what happened to her. But through hypnotherapy, energy psychology, and all those other little magical tools that I have available, we now get to not only help you reframe the experience, change your perspective, but also, number three, the best part, show you that you have the resources inside of you to change so that next time when you think about flying, next time when you think about your vacation, next time when you think about visiting and seeing your daughter graduate, you can actually look forward to it. You can get excited about that because, right, think about it. If a person thinks of flying and they get anxious and nervous and self-conscious and they have all these horrible pictures in their mind about the plane crash and how it's going to go bad, obviously that's going to cause anxiety, that's going to cause fear. But instead, if you can begin to change those pictures, change your focus, change your physiology, change your psychology, change your nervous system, allow your nervous system to heal from all these past wounds. Now, we're not only changing this logically, but also biologically, which is the conscious and the subconscious, right? The conscious is responsible for willpower, decision making, and a little bit of willpower, which is important, right? That's the boss mind. That's the decision maker. That's the goal setter. But that's only 5% of your power. Your subconscious is your servant mind. That means whatever programs are in your subconscious, and many of them are old and outdated, whatever program is in here, that's what's going to fire. Now, this is 95% of your mind power. And this is the part that, as your hypnotherapist, I happen to work with. And that's why this works. I work directly with your subconscious because this part of you is what controls our behavior, our actions, our thoughts, our beliefs. And if I fundamentally believe that I have a fear of flying, I'm probably not going to get on that plane, or not until 10 horses get me there, which is not a pretty sight. So, right? And once we give you, right, show you where those resources are, that's how you are able to change naturally and automatically and easily and relatively quickly, as fast as humanly possible. And this is something I wish everybody would understand. And here's the deal: regardless whether we talk about fear of flying or fear of driving or fear of all of these fears, extremely common, but the one fear that is above all, which is quite tragic, and I used to have this fear of speaking. No, 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 not just public speaking, fear of speaking, like to people. Talk about social links. Like I was such a verklempt, which then, of course, it impacted my career, it impacted my relationships, it impacted my friends, it impacted my neighbors, it impacted everything in my life. So, fear of public speaking as well. Very, very big, common fear. The best part, though, is yep, you guessed it, we can fix it simply through the power of your subconscious. And that delights me when I can share news like that with my clients, who very often what I will hear is, Susan, you're my last resort. I have already done everything. I've tried everything. I've been to therapy. I've been to speech pathology. I practice in front of the mirror. I've already tried all kinds of meds. I've tried the coping skills, and my heart goes out because when I hear that, what I'm hearing is how determined you are, how relentless you are, how ferocious you are, how you will stop at nothing because now here you are yet again looking for another solution. That shows me so much about you as a human being, how driven, how hungry, how ambitious you are. And that's all I need from you. That's all I need. Leave the rest to me. Because when I see that quality in a human, I'm like, oh, I get so excited. I can't teach hunger and motivation. Like that's either somebody wants a better life or they don't. It's like I'm not here to convince people, right? But if you have standards that are this high and you have already tried everything and nobody was, that's not your fault. That again shows me, wow, this person, they have high standards, they have ambitions, they have certain needs, expectations, they want to live life a certain way. Thank you. That's all we need, because that implies you're not willing to settle for less. You do not tolerate mediocrity. You're like, I want this. No problem. As long as the drive and the hunger and the desire is there, the process is something I can teach you. And what I also know for sure, you have the resources inside of you. That's the best part. That's my favorite part about hypnotherapy. It's not what Susan says, it's not what Susan does. I mean, yes, my method is certainly creme de la creme, world class, first class, I'm not going to lie. But you are the one that makes the change inside, because I show you where to go, what to do, what questions to ask, right? And that is how you are able to communicate, work with your own subconscious, which, in my opinion, is one of the most empowering rewarding, joy giving experiences. So it's not something outside of you that did it, it's something you caused. Which then, I know, so many, wait a minute, if I can do that, what else can I do? Ah, now you're thinking, you're right. What else can you do? Well, all of it. Make more money, have a better self esteem, better self confidence, have better relationships, better health. Yes, all of that can be helped with hypnotherapy. All of it. So, where am I from? That's a loaded question. Originally from Austria, and I moved to the States all by myself when I was 20 years old and landed in New York. Never looked back. Best city ever, and stayed here. So, yes, I'm from Austria and I'm from New York. And yeah. And so right now I am in New York, and most of this work is done virtually. And yeah, so, yes, we also do this in German. Just FYI, had a session with an 11-year-old boy last week, and I did it in German, which, anyhow, it went pretty well. But English is much more fluid. Either way, so yes, I do offer a free consultation. What else? I already said we can do this virtually. Here's another benefit. One session. So many people experience a change. No, 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 back up. A profound and powerful change, even after just one session. Had a session with a client, young lady, beautiful lady. She came to me because she had fear of driving. She said, Susan, I'm at the point, I don't even want to leave my house anymore. I want to get in the car. Like, literally, just such a sheltered life because of this anxiety. We had one session. She texted me this morning. She goes, Susan, you won't believe. I spent the weekend driving around. I had the best time. I had so much fun. I can't believe the change. I feel so much better. Ta da! And of course, I get to say, I told you so. Anyway, that's the power of the human mind. Like, and remember, we all were programmed with some of these ridiculous, like, programs that are not serving us. I mean, so many of these programs are amazing. Like, you know how to shower, you know how to tie your shoelaces, you know how to type. Like, if you know how to drive, God help you. Like, that just in itself shows you how sophisticated, complicated. Like, if you can do that, driving, driving is an incredibly complex mechanical, like, from the subconscious mind perspective, the steps that your subconscious has to remember to be able for you to drive, chewing gum, listening to music with the windows open, and getting to your destination. If you can do that, okay, you can do anything. That's how powerful and incredible your subconscious is. And so much of what we do, like even this right now, this is a subconscious habit that I have, right? That I'm embellishing my conversation, I'm adding, right, to my, so much of what we do is a subconscious program. And we take it for granted. Like, oh, that's just how I am. No, that's not just how you are. I promise you, that is a program running your life, running you. And many of these programs are amazing about you. Like, if you know how to speak a language, like, without having to think about it, like, that's how sophisticated, complicated, complex you are. So if we're talking about fixing anxiety or depression or procrastination or self-sabotage or some kind of irrational fear or imposter syndrome or self-doubt or self-confidence or self-esteem, same thing. I just happen to know how to work the formula on how to actually program you to become the person you want to be. You want to walk into that room and be the most confident person in control of it. You can make that happen. No problem. Like, no, you're not just shy. I promise you're not. No, 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 no excuses. You are not just shy. I used to think, look, the other, speaking of where I'm from, for me, the first 20 years of my life, now this is actually so not funny. This is very, very tragic. And I can't put in words what that was like for me. But the first 20 years of my life, I had a very severe speech impediment. Stuttering. How convenient. That means I couldn't even say my own name without stuttering. And that was me as a kid and a teenager. And you know how cruel children can be or teenagers. So I don't want to like even think about but that, needless to say, was the cause for my anxiety, my depression, my self esteem, oh, I'm just shy. That's just how I am. Of course, once I learned how to get over all of my issues and I got to understand how the mind works, that's when I was able to change, right? And then, of course, help hundreds of people. So I don't want anybody to think that they're at the mercy of this handicap, of this limitation. You're not. That's not just how you are. Just because it's been like this for so long doesn't mean you're going to have to keep on like this. Absolutely not. You have the potential to change. And, you know, because of that, life can become exponentially better. So, anyhow, I already said yes, free consultation. Yes, we can do this virtually. I don't remember a problem that we couldn't solve with hypnotherapy. Yes, this includes mental, physical, emotional issues, anything chronic. Hypnotherapy will typically help you at least start the ball rolling in the right direction, right? Hope you got something away from this conversation. If you want to connect with me, there is a link in my bio where you can book a free consultation, and I will see you next time.